Two women can own the exact same cardigan, and one of them looks polished while the other looks like she gave up. Same color, same brand, sometimes even the same size, standing side by side, and yet one reads as put together and the other doesn't. The difference isn't the cardigan. It's 5 small decisions almost nobody talks about, and today I'm giving you all 5. This is LRI Timeless Fashion. Here's what's genuinely strange about cardigans specifically. Out of every piece in a mature woman's closet, it's one of the most worn and least understood. Most style advice skips right past it, too basic to bother with, while blazers and dresses get all the attention. But cardigans are worn almost daily by women over 60, in the office, running errands, over a dress for dinner, and nobody ever sat down and explained the actual rules. That gap is exactly where frumpy habits quietly take root. Let's start with the one detail that quietly ruins more cardigans than anything else: length. Most women reach for whatever length happens to be on the rack, but the truth is only 2 lengths actually flatter a mature frame. A cardigan that hits right at your waist or high hip creates real shape. It defines you instead of hiding you. A cardigan that falls to mid-thigh does the opposite job beautifully. It creates one long, elegant line from shoulder to knee. What almost nobody warns you about is the length in between, right at the hip. That mid-hip length is the exact spot that visually widens the body. It cuts you off at the widest part of your frame and adds bulk you don't actually have. If your cardigans are all landing right there, that's very likely why they felt frumpy without you ever being able to say why. Here's a quick way to check tonight. Try on a cardigan and look at where the hem sits relative to your hip bone. If it lands directly on it, that's your sign. Either size up to the next length or save that piece for layering under a coat where the length won't be the star of the outfit. Next, the buttoning mistake. Most women do one of 2 things: button every single button all the way up, or leave the whole thing hanging wide open. Both read as unfinished. The move stylists actually use is buttoning just the middle 2 or 3 buttons and leaving the top open to create a soft neckline. It takes 3 seconds, and it's the difference between a cardigan that looks thrown on and one that looks styled. It's worth trying on both ways in the mirror before you leave the house. Fully buttoned versus this middle buttons approach. The shift in how put together it reads is more dramatic than you'd expect from such a small change. Here's something that surprised me researching. The base layer underneath matters almost as much as the cardigan itself. A bulky top underneath adds visual weight exactly where the cardigan is already adding fabric, doubling up on bulk you don't need. A smooth fitted base, a simple tee, a turtleneck, a camisole, lets the cardigan do its job instead of fighting it. If you've ever put on a cardigan and felt swallowed by it, check what's underneath before you blame the cardigan. And while we're on the base layer, the neckline underneath matters more than most people realize, too. A crew neck tee peeking out from a cardigan can create an awkward double collar effect at the throat, while a simple V-neck or scoop underneath lets the cardigan's own neckline read cleanly, one line instead of 2 competing ones. If you're finding this useful so far, go ahead and hit subscribe. This is exactly the kind of overlooked detail we break down every week at LRI Timeless Fashion. Fourth, the sleeve detail nobody mentions. A long cardigan sleeve left completely down can look sleepy, almost like you're wearing it to bed rather than out the door. A simple push of the sleeve to just above the wrist instantly reads as intentional, styled, awake. It's such a small movement, but stylists specifically call it out as the difference between looking sleepy and looking put together. It also happens to be one of the fastest style tricks that exists. No tailoring, no shopping, just 30 seconds before you walk out the door. And fifth, definition. This is the one that changes a cardigan from a blanket into an actual outfit piece. A thin belt, cinched at your natural waist over a longer cardigan, creates real shape where there was none. And it works especially well on duster-length styles. You don't need a special belt for this. A simple thin one you probably already own works perfectly, tied or buckled loosely rather than pulled tight. One more layering trick worth knowing here. Texture contrast does a lot of the same visual work a belt does. If your cardigan is a chunky knit, pairing it with something smooth underneath, a silk or satin blouse, a sleek camisole, creates visual interest without adding any bulk, while two heavy textures stacked together just reads as one shapeless mass of fabric. Here's the part that ties all 5 of these together. None of them require a new cardigan, a bigger budget, or a trip to the store. They're all about how you wear what's already in your closet, the length you already own, buttoned differently, worn over a smoother base, sleeves pushed up, waist defined. That's the actual gap between the 2 women who own the same cardigan. One of them learned these 5 small moves, and the other never had anyone tell her. And it's worth saying this is exactly why cardigans are one of the most versatile pieces you can own once you understand this. The same piece, styled these 5 ways, can go from an office layer over a blouse in the morning to a belted, sleeves-pushed evening layer over a simple dress by dinner without you owning a single extra item. So here's my honest question for you, and I genuinely want to know the answer. Out of these 5, which one is the mistake you didn't even realize you were making until right now? Was it the length, the buttoning, what's underneath, the sleeves, or the belt? Tell me in the comments below. Be honest, I read every single one, and I promise you're not the only one who didn't know. If this changed the way you're going to reach for your cardigans this week, give this video a like and subscribe to Elori Timeless Fashion. We break down exactly this kind of detail every single week. And if you know a friend who's been quietly avoiding cardigans because they never felt quite right on her, send her this video. She deserves to know it was never her, it was these 5 small things. And if you're the woman who's had a cardigan sitting in the back of your closet because it never felt right, this is your sign to pull it back out and try it these 5 ways before you decide it doesn't work for you. This has been Elori Timeless Fashion. Stay elegant, stay confident, and I'll see you in the next one.